Imagine a situation when you're in a stone world at the beginning of the game that shares similar rules of the real world but full of magic. It requires constant food collecting, camps building, and skills mastering. This is right the main and nearly the only goal of Don't Starve, a wilderness survival sandbox game. Designed by Klei Entertainment, Don't Starve was first released in 2013 through Steam. In the following years, it has been turned into different versions for adapting to diverse game consoles and even mobile devices. 3 DLCs include Region of Giants, Shipwrecked, and Hamlet were followed up to create new survival environment, characters, and ecology rules for players to maintain the playability. As a sandbox game, Don't Starve encourages players to interact with the environment on their initiative, as well as finding their own unique path to survival. Also, the game has no mandatory plot to go through or levels to climb up. Thus, players can use their creativity and enjoy fully freedom while playing as long as they can survive. At the beginning of the game, the player has a choice of different characters. During the exploration, we will encounter the specific boss in every season and random natural disasters. In order to prevent being killed, we need to actively find the materials available to us. In the initial plane, we can collect cut grass, twigs, and berries. In some areas, we will find the graveyard and the entrance of cave, where the gold mines are hidden. In addition, there are oases, swamp, mangrove forest, and other complex terrain. You can sell, fish, farm, fetch, craft, and tame all you want in this little world. Besides, you can create the science machine and alchemy engine. It sounds difficult. Let's use our intelligence to make the most of materials to upgrade weapons and survival supplies. To achieve such gameplay system, Klei adapted multiple techniques. Initially, Don't Starve only had a health meter and a day-night cycle. Later, Klei expanded the prototype to create a new IP, offering 2 modes. Players could act as a townsmayor or explore the wild for resources. The coding work was done using C Engine. It provided developers with tools for rendering, physical simulation, sound settings, laying the groundwork for the game. After that, the prototyping work began. The Klei decided the main concept was to provide the player with easy-to-understand tools through the surrounding world for further interaction. To make the mechanics more interesting, the developers utilized emergent gameplay mode, allowing players to uncover all sorts of elements offered in the wild. Additionally, they drew inspiration from roguelike games by integrating a procedurally generated world and the concept of permadeath. Don't Starve has been continuously improved by Klei. With the introduction of new seasons, biomes, characters, Don't Starve Together is an expansion with multiplayer mechanics that allow us to go on adventures with friends through LAN network and matchmaking. Klei also put a lot of effort into the game's artwork. Inspired by artists such as Tim Burton and Edward Gorey, Don't Starve has a distinct Gothic sketch style. The game's overall graphics are gloomy and gray. There are 4 seasons, unpredictable weather, all sorts of eccentric creatures and puzzling objects. In a world where technology and magic coexist, everything is magical realism. The game also has a complete worldview and plot structure. A pair of lovers who perform magic tricks using the power of the shadows are taken into the realm of eternity. More and more people are drawn into this world of intrigue, and we can choose to be the actress who longs to return to the stage, or the girl who doesn't want to face the truth about her twin sister's death, or Wilson, the scientist who longs to create a new invention. Each character struggles with trauma, desire, dreams, and reality. This farce is bound to have tragic undertones. The most fascinating thing about this game is the uncertainty. It doesn't have a set plot direction. Kevin Forbes, one of the game's developers, had expanded his design ideas. Best way to teach players how to play a game isn't in a scripted tutorial. In the process of playing, you will wonder why the cause of death is dark, why sometimes, even if the torch is made, there will be a hand to pinch the fire, why is Wendy followed by a ghost? Are we being controlled by a certain fate? These mysteries are waiting to be explored. There are a lot of games where the enjoyment fades in the later stages as your survival skills improve, but Don't Starve Together is constantly being updated. In this version, we can cooperate to fend off crises with friends, which greatly adds to the richness and playability of the game. But loneliness is a constant theme. Every second of every day has unknowns and mysteries, as we strive to survive and inevitably move towards destruction. Such a sense of emptiness can make me doubt the meaning of existence, but the experiences I've had in the game were real. When I built the prototype of my home, when I took my first sailing voyage, when I fixed up the house for Crab Grandma, these precious memories were archived in code and data. However, not everyone can tolerate the survival mode of Don't Starve Together since there are so many dumb ways to die that it can cause you to lose everything. Many players reflect that they find collecting the same resources, building the same objects over and over again can be frustrating and meaningless. But for some players, it can be a reminder to adjust their current in-game actions, which has been ascertained by some critics who believe that the mechanics of Don't Starve Together can force players to learn optimal play to avoid similar death sequences. For example, if you always die in winter, it is better for you to stock food and get more materials for making clothes to protect you from the extreme cold. Besides, some scholars argue that the repetitive walks can actually give the player expressive creative control over the rhythms of their performed interactions, potentially enriching their experience of tasks and extending the play life of a game. Other scholars mention that in the multiplayer mode, such mechanics can incentivize players to collaborate. So, to overcome the difficulty of this game, we can only try to survive and keep one thing in mind: don't starve.